It's Ash from Super Videos, back for another Walking Dead video. This is going to be a suggested video. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at what if Rick died in the coma. This suggested video comes from channel user Giuseppe De Rosa, and it's actually a very interesting and unique topic. So I thought the best way to kind of answer this question or to do a video on this topic is to choose a selection of characters that are very close to Rick or were very close to Rick, and basically take a look at how this event, if Rick died in the coma, would have impacted them. The characters that I've chosen are Carl, Lori, Michonne, Shane, and Daryl. Starting off with Carl. So for Carl, I feel like if Rick truly died in the coma, then what would have most likely happened is Carl would have bonded more with Shane. The relationship that Carl and Rick had may be translated to a relationship between Carl and Shane. Of course, it would have been a different type of relationship, but I still feel like they would have been maybe as close as Carl and Rick are. So if Rick died, then Carl would pretty much look at Shane as his father in the long run. We gotta remember, everyone thought Rick was dead anyway. So it's just a matter of what would have Carl done differently if Rick wasn't there, which is pretty much a lot of stuff. But if we think about it, maybe if Rick wasn't there and if it was Shane and Carl as a father-son duo, then maybe Carl would have been more hardened character and he would have maybe been a little bit darker than what he is now. I feel like a part of Carl's bright side or his, humane side in a way is influenced by Rick. So for Carl specifically, I think if Rick died in the coma, Carl would have been a more hardened character and maybe a darker character. For Lori, of course, Lori would have been with Shane, and I don't think anything would have really changed with Lori. She would have most likely still died in the prison, giving birth to Judith, because of course Judith was Shane's baby. So if Rick wasn't there, Judith would have still been there. Lori would have still probably died during childbirth. But in terms of her character, I don't think anything would have really been that different. It's just that the relationship would have been between Shane and Lori and not Rick and Lori. Next, Shane himself. That's a thing that's arguable. It's a debatable thing, but I think if Rick died in the coma, Shane would have probably been the leader at this point. Would he have led things a little bit differently? That's definitely true. He would be less trusting of others. He would try his best to, take control over the community that he went to, and he wouldn't really try to fit in to a community because he wasn't that type of character. He would have probably made more darker decisions than Rick, but at the same time, at some point, Rick became Shane in a way, and things that Rick did were pretty much closely matching with some of the decisions Shane made before he died. So I definitely think that Shane would have been a bit of a darker character and a darker leader if he survived longer and if Rick died in the coma. But at the same time, I think that overall, generally speaking, they would have been the exact same thing. Shane would have made most of the same decisions Rick did. Only difference, I would say, is he would have killed Negan. He wouldn't let Negan live. But who knows? Maybe if it was for Carl, maybe Shane would have made a similar decision, given how much their relationship would have evolved at that point. Next, Michonne. So Michonne is an interesting one because if Rick died, Michonne would not have been in a relationship. And if you think about it, the only reason Michonne came out of her shell and could connect with people and, come out of her sort of dark side was because of Rick and Carl. And if Rick wasn't there, she would have probably no reason to have that bond or relationship that she had built with Carl. So I think at the end of the day, Michonne would have stayed in her shell and would have still kind of been the same closed off character that she once was. And I think she might have even become more closed off. Next, Daryl Dixon. Daryl Dixon is actually another interesting one because just like Michonne, the only reason Daryl came out of his shell or his closed offness was because of the relationship that he built with Rick and Carl. We can refer to a discussion Daryl and Rick had when Daryl told Rick, I would die for you. I would die for Carl. And that just goes to show how much he really cares for both Rick and Carl. And just like Michonne, and maybe to a more extreme case, Daryl would have been more closed off and he would have been a bit more darker at this point if Rick died in the coma. And I don't think that Daryl would have necessarily been able to do that with Shane. But that's basically it for this video. This was a very interesting topic, but just talking about it for like 5-6 minutes, I can't really dive in detail. And it's also one of those things where it's very difficult to kind of think about. That's it for this video. See you next time for another super video. If you like what you see, press like, subscribe for more content, and press the bell button to receive notifications for daily uploads. Like and follow the Facebook page of this channel to join our community, and check out the upload schedule to learn more about daily uploads.